wrestling, comics, 90s cartoons, movies, TV series. Hi, I'm Jonathan Esther, and I'd like to invite you to listen to my brother Slow Chemical's brand new podcast, I See Things a Little Differently, a follow-up to his excellent Why Repent, I'ma Do It Again. In it, Slow Chemical brings his natural acerbic wit and knowledge as a content creator, an artist, and a general bon vivant to looking at intricate niches and corners of our pop culture and dissecting it in his unique and infallible way. Or fallible, depending on how you take it. Either way, this excellent podcast will have you revisiting things that you haven't seen in a while, looking at things that you've seen differently, and giving you interesting and fascinating views from in and outside of pop culture. If you love blunt honesty, frank discussion, and just a good time, tune in to my brother's podcast. I See Things a Little Differently now, wherever your pods are cast.
Oh, hey there, everybody. It's me, Cool Ross Pitt, Shark Hunter. Right over here, it's Cool Wizzy Puff.
Sup?
Welcome to Cool Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. So yeah, in this, not that anyone needs to know because everyone's watched it or listened to it. Because everyone's listened to it, But, just a refresher. I'm kind of taking Cool Wizzy on a tour, we could say, of My Little Pony fanfiction. I mean, cool My Little Pony fanfiction. Duh. So yeah, it's gonna be fine. Totally fine all around, Just sit back, relax, and...
So what are we reading today, Cool Ross?
Well, thank you for asking, Cool Wizzy. Today we're reading Cool the Celestia Code by Cool Esau.
Yeah, I love me some cool Celestia Code.
Cool the Celestia Code, Wizzy.
The cool Celestia Code.
Alright, and as with everything, we're gonna leave out the cool word. So... unless it's said in, the middle of a sentence, because no one wants to just hear cool, 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 as with all media in our world. Oh my, what's this beeping thing down here?
What?
I'm gonna touch... Whoa, my gosh! It's a portal to another dimension. Gosh, I sure hope it's super cool. Oh no, I'm getting dragged into it. Oh god,
Well, that's not good.
Oh, god damn.
Hey, you're not Cool Ross. Cool Ross doesn't say those kinds of words. He says cool, goddamn.
Who the hell is Cool Ross?
Certainly not you.
What the... Why is this place so much cooler? What the hell?
What do you mean? Everything's cool.
Wait a minute. Was that portal a portal to another dimension?
Whoopsie.
Ah, dang it. Hi, I'm Ross. Pitt. Shark Hunter. Dang, Wizzy, your profile picture is so much cooler in this dimension.
Well, yeah. I'm Cool Wizzy.
I guess that would do it. So, until I figure out how to get back to my dimension, I guess you're also recording a podcast?
Yeah, it's the Cool Ross and Cool Wizzy's Cool Fanfiction Power Hour.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Huh. Alright, cool. I guess I'll help you record this one then. We're reading the Celestia Code?
Nah, This is cool, the Celestia Code.
Oh, okay. Huh, neat. All right, yeah, I know the story. Well, we have one similar. It doesn't say cool at the beginning, but...
What?
I guess this is just like a world where that happens. So yeah, we're just gonna leave out the cools, I guess. Yeah. If everything in this world has cool in front of it.
Yeah, but that's a lot of cools.
Yeah.
If you click Control F and then you type cool, it says like 600, man.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. Well, I guess your listeners don't want to be waiting still, so I suppose we should get into it.
My listeners do what I tell them to do.
All right, I don't think I like Cool Wizzy. So yeah, in this universe, is Cool Ross supposed to read the usual stuff?
You know it.
Okay, cool. Chapter 9. Fallout.
Well,
Jigsaw observed dryly, once the changeling had departed.
that's not in the least bit disturbing. Do you think she's just messing with you?
I rolled Chrysalis's note back up and put it in my saddlebag. I can't be sure, but I think she's telling the truth.
So now what?
I think returning to Canterlot would be wise. Jigsaw sputtered for a second before flattening her ears and shouting.
What? Are you crazy? All this way to just turn around?
I don't have the right to risk your life to satisfy my curiosity.
Well, it's my curiosity too.
She snorted and stamped.
Have you forgotten the bunyips and changelings? I've already been in danger.
I took a few seconds to work out a decision grid in my head. Column C is the only responsible choice, I muttered.
You are crazy, Twilight. What the heck are you talking about?
Oh, did you guys recap the last chapter? I don't know what you did before I came in.
Well, usually Cool Ross does that.
Oh, so I guess Cool Ross just wasn't cool enough to recap that chapter. Okay,
well,
so
let's not get ahead of ourselves. Maybe he was just too cool to.
All right, well, we're going to recap the last chapter, or the last two chapters, I guess. So Chrysalis attacked Twilight and Jigsaw, and then freaking Jigsaw kissed Twilight at some point, and then Luna was in there, and then some stuff blew up. I don't know if that's accurate to this version of the story, but it seems pretty close to the one that I have back in my world so far, so...
Well, then they were talking to the changeling, and the changeling was, like, sending messages back between them and Chrysalis. And then
right.
Twilight was like, I want to be friends with you, Chrysalis. And then Chrysalis was like, beware, people die in this town.
Oh, dear. That's scary. I completely forgot about it. But yeah, that sounds about right. All right, where was I? Okay. I levitated a pebble and used it to draw out the grid in the dust at our hooves. 2 rows for the 2 possible solutions. Row 1, the ruins are relatively safe. Row 2, the ruins are dangerous, you see? Now, I make 3 columns to represent 3 possible courses of action. A, continue on. B, continue using extreme caution. C, return to Canterlot. In each of the 6 boxes, I put the most pessimistic outcome of the action matched with the solution.
Situation.
Oh, God, sorry. If it wasn't so late. I filled the boxes. A, continue. B, caution. C, return. 1, safe. Safe waste time safe. 2, dangerous. Death, high risk, safe. In this case, I've chosen the C column, not because it has the most desirable outcome, but because it eliminates the possibility of the worst. It's the only logical choice to make. I put the pebble down at the top of column C.
Oh, yes, of course.
Jigsaw still had her ears pinned back and was showing a lot of teeth.
We'll just hoof it back to Canterlot and forget about finding the cornucopia and the weapon. Just leave something that is supposed to be able to defeat Princess Celestia in the territory of the changelings. Brilliant, Twilight, just brilliant.
I was shocked by this. I was shocked by her sudden anger. I was, well, hurt by it. I was only thinking of her safety, and she had misunderstood me at that. I had to make myself clear. Not we, Jigsaw. You. You are going back to Camelot. I can contact Luna and...
Oh,
Jigsaw?
Twilight is a jerk.
Twilight's understandable, though.
Kind of, but like, she's like being really condescending here. And I don't think it's on purpose, but she is. It's like, not we, you. And she like really wants to stay. Come on, let her stay.
I still wouldn't let her stay, but you are right about the not we, you thing. Jigsaw's ears had been nearly wrapped around the back of her head, and her lips drawn up in an absolute feral snarl, and then suddenly she was crying.
I'm sorry, Twilight. I'm really sorry. I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, and I wasn't trying to push you into something you didn't want to do. I swear by the sun and moon, I thought you were returning my little signals. I'll sleep outside the library, or I'll do whatever you want. Just don't send me back, please.
I can't go back. I can't.
Don't send me back there.
Don't put me back in the box.
It's not because she wants to be in this situation. It's because the other option is worse.
Did you ever have one of those moments when you realize that you and another pony are talking about two very, very different things? And that you've been seriously misunderstanding one another for quite some time? It's kind of like cantering into an invisible brick wall, isn't it?
Look,
Jigsaw went on as I tried to get my mental hooves under me again.
I can help keep us safe.
She kicked open the bronze door of the building so hard it bounced off the wall before a hinge gave way and it wrenched to a wobbling halt, half open. Then she leaped into the dark of the entranceway and stomped on the flagstones of the floor.
See? No traps, no danger. I knew there wouldn't be because of the mark on the doorframe. You didn't even notice it, did you?
Jigsaw, wait. Ceiling alligator, look out.
Oh, nice callback.
Thank you, Cool Wizzy. Jigsaw, wait, I began.
And who's going to document the exploration? Sure, you can describe things well, but you can't manage to draw a halfway decent stick figure. Look at this.
She pulled her own journal out of her bag, flipped it open, and held it out for me to see. The pages held a very detailed pencil drawing of the library rotunda, and precise, close-up sketches of the border of suns with the letters that I had decoded below them. Stop. I tried to interrupt her. It's my fault.
I don't care whose fault it is. I just don't want to be sent home.
I wanted to calmly explain to her exactly how we had come to this misunderstanding, but it seemed the situation called for something more direct. All right, you're staying, I shouted. For about 3 breaths, Jigsaw gasped like she had just galloped 5 miles, then burst out crying again.
Thank you, Dwight. I...
What could I do? I wrapped my wings around her and made wordless, soothing sounds until she calmed down. Let me explain something to you, I said, when she had quieted to the point where I thought she would be willing to listen to me. I am probably less experienced in social subtleties, that's the one. I am probably less experienced in social subtleties than a mare half my age. Even when I do pick up on signals, half the time I convince myself I'm mistaken, and the other half, I'm too paralyzed by indecision to respond correctly. None of this was your fault, and I would be the biggest hypocrite in Equestria if I held any of it against you.
You got that right, Twilight.
Mm-hmm. She shifted as if she wanted to pull away from me, but I held my embrace just a while longer to make a point. You don't make me uncomfortable at all. And then the whole one thing. Yep, a teensy white lie there. I don't mind holding you like this. Do I? As long as you understand, it doesn't mean I'm promising or wanting anything more.
I'm getting snot all over your chest. Yeah, this is how I do it in the cool way. I really portrayed that muffle well.
Very cool. Normal Wizzy wouldn't have done that.
Meanwhile, in the normal world...
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Okay. I let her slip out from between my wings so we could both get clean cloths and some water from our supplies. You said something about a mark on the doorframe? I asked as I wrung out my wet cloth and picked up one to dry myself with.
Yes.
She nodded, blinking and wiping her eyes one last time.
It's a sign used by expeditions to mark areas that have been examined. 2 horseshoe shapes touching at the tips of the toes, with hash marks indicating the level of possible interest or significance. An X means some danger, and a zigzag means deadly danger. The library has 3 hash marks. There are several other symbols, too.
I've never heard of them, I said.
Well, it's not like they're official or anything. They're just something that developed in the field, I guess.
I brought our bags to the building and set out things for lunch. It was a bit early, but we would both benefit from a bit of food and some Canterlot first aid. And then there's a little 2 thing with the brackets, whatever this thing is called, I forgot. It says T.
Footnote or something?
Yeah, we'll call it a footnote. I don't know if that's the word, because I can't remember, but we're calling it a footnote.
Hold on.
Yeah. It says T.
A footnote. An ancillary piece of information printed at the bottom of a page.
We'll call this a page. Again, I summoned up some watercress sandwiches and a few cinnamon buns for dessert. I didn't like to do that often, because it drove my chef nuts when food disappeared from her kitchen. But dried rations were a world away from what any pony would consider comfort food. After lunch, Jigsaw and I were as excruciatingly polite and careful towards one another as we had been that morning, but it felt ever so much better. The town hall turned out to be just as safe and uninteresting as Jigsaw had predicted, based on the 1 hash mark sign on the doorframe. It may have held interesting documents and bits of art at one time, but it was bare of even furniture by the time we arrived. There were the ever-present carvings of unicorns strutting around, of course, and they were done with quite a bit of artistic merit, Jigsaw assured me, but I'd gotten tired of them after the first few rooms. As we left the building, Jigsaw got out the map and made a mark next to the building that was a twin to the one carved on its doorframe. I wonder why the original expedition didn't do that, I observed. There's one on the library, but none anywhere else I could see.
That is odd,
Jigsaw agreed.
Usually they mark on the map at the same time they mark the buildings. It's not like there aren't other marked buildings. Look there.
She pointed at the smaller structure beside the one we had just left. I spotted the mark easily, now that I knew what to look for. 2 horseshoes. No hash mark. Even less interesting than the town hall, it seems. Jigsaw tapped the map thoughtfully and said,
Maybe we should just update the map. Walk around looking for survey signs in the most likely areas. Then we could do a more focused search based on better information tomorrow.
It was a good plan, and how we spent the rest of the day. I kept probing the ruins with little bursts of magic while keeping a nearly completed matrix for a shield at the back of my mind. I wasn't going to let my guard down for a second. If something happened to Jigsaw after it could have sent her home to safety, I'd never forgive myself. The wind shifted near sunset. Sunset?
When did she get here?
Wow! No, the wind shifted near sunset and brought smoke and ash from the broken mountain drifting into the city. When we got back to the library, in addition to my double shields, I improvised a filtering spell that kept us from having to breathe the stuff. Jigsaw and I left our bedrolls where they had been the night before and spread out the map between us. We both agreed to start the next day with the long building that had been marked with 4 hash marks. We both had wanted to chuck the plan and go in right away when we'd found it, but it would have been foolish to do so with only an hour of daylight left. We finally settled in and pulled the blankets over ourselves. Just before I fell asleep, I thought I heard Jigsaw say ever so quietly,
"Thank you for letting me stay."
but I might have imagined it. Yeah, you probably imagined it.
Jigsaw's selfish. She would never say that. Is that what you were
she
getting at?
would. Yeah.
She's
That
not.
is what I'm getting at.
She's not selfish.
You keep saying that. I half expected a visit from Luna that night, holding forth in archaic Equish as she tended to do when she was moody or upset, but I didn't even remember my dreams. I awoke to the smell of breakfast cooking.
Good morning, Twilight. Top of the morning to you, Twilight.
Oh boy. Jigsaw said very cheerfully as I blinked sleep from my eyes and sat up.
The tea is almost brewed. Would you like raisins and cinnamon in your oatmeal? Ooh,
No.
I should totally add raisins to my oatmeal when I make it. That sounds so good.
You don't already?
No, I just had the cinnamon. I never thought of raisins, and I don't know why.
How have you never thought of raisin? Whatever. Doesn't matter, I suppose. Ah. We were pretending it never happened. That was fine with me. That was a game I was good at. Yes, thank you. And a teaspoon of honey, please.
The wind must have changed during the night, because the sky is pretty clear. There's about an inch of dust covering everything, though. So it would be wise for us to wrap all the food carefully before you drop the shields, or we'll be eating grit for the rest of the trip. Do you want honey in your tea, too? She is like... They are just, like,
okay.
sort of... Not to say anything about cool Esau here, but... Come on, Jigsaw's a cool character, and you're kind of disrespecting her in this chapter. You're making her look pathetic. And moody and weird. Like, I don't know, it's just like... Is it just me, or does she seem a lot different in this chapter? Less cool.
I don't know.
Maybe we're reading the version from your universe.
Maybe. If we are, that would explain some things. Anyways. I let her chatter away, while I got out my hairbrush and wrestled my rat's nests back into some semblance of a mane and tail. We were both eager to get to the 4 hashmark building, but I was determined to be extra cautious for the rest of the time we were in the city. So we went slowly, and I frequently cast detection spells, even on ground we had already covered. If we traveled any faster than a slow walk, we kicked up a lot of dust anyway. As we approached the central plaza, a stone fell off a nearby wall. It was probably unbalanced by the weight of the dust that had settled on it during the night, and was finally toppled by the vibrations from our hoof-falls. I snapped my head to the side before I even realized what I was doing, and released a blast from my horn. I not only vaporized the stone, but most of the wall behind it, and the one behind that.
Road apples, Twilight.
Jigsaw swore as most of the surrounding masonry collapsed with a rumble, and I quickly began flapping my wings to keep the cloud of dust off us.
Wait, I thought apples was more of like an Applejack swear thing. Do other ponies also say it?
Yeah.
Huh. This is the first time I'm seeing it in action.
Just kind of like a, typical horse swear, I guess. Because, horses just eat apples.
How about like buckwheat? That sounds like a good one.
Hey, man, if you ever make a fan fiction, feel free to use that one.
I will, though.
Sorry, I muttered. Guess I'm a little twitchy.
You think?
Jigsaw caught herself.
I mean, I guess it's better to overreact than whatever.
Then to freeze up and maybe get killed? Definitely better. I had certainly learned that lesson the hard way. So many ponies considered me to be something special, certainly more special than I really was. But I knew how close and how many times I had come to being no pony at all. Only the combination of hard work, good friends, and a lot of luck had gotten me through the dangerous times that had come all too often. I sighed. I was trying to tell myself how hard I'd had it, and insisted I was getting nostalgic for all the adventures I'd had with my friends, which was stupid, because there I was having a brand new adventure with a brand new friend. I swear sometimes my brain has a mind of its own. Sorry for snapping at you, Jigsaw, I told her as we got away from the newly ruined part of the ruins. But I'm going to keep a few spells on Hair Trigger until we get out of this place and you're safe again.
No, that's fine, Twilight. Just try not to do that to any priceless artifacts, okay?
I'll try, I said solemnly, but no promises. If a golden chalice has to die to keep you safe, so be it.
Oh yeah, you totally aren't in love with her.
Okay, dude, come on, man. First off, come on, man. But second, I hope that happens later in the story. A golden chalice having to die to protect Jigsaw.
And it's like a living golden chalice. That's like, it becomes a really loved character.
I am the golden chalice.
Yeah, you can definitely do that voice for it if it ever happens.
Yay.
Now I want that to happen, God.
Me too. Come on, Esau, be smart about this. I'm sorry, cool, Esau.
Keesaw.
Man, that didn't sound cool at all.
It's just a nickname thing we do here. God, get over it.
All right, man. I'll take your word for it, I guess. That got a chuckle out of her. Oh, referring back to the chalice thing. Okay. The long building was one street away from the plaza, but lined up with it, like the spoke of a wheel. Two big double doors opened outward, and were set high enough that we could open them without disturbing the dust in the street. Just to be extra cautious, we stood well back, and I swung them open with my magic. The building was empty. Well, not exactly empty. The floor was made of heavy flagstones that stretched to the other end of the building, where there were two more doors, identical to the other one, identical to the ones we had just come through. There were two deep grooves, worn into the flagstones, that were spaced just about right to have been made by the wheels of carts or wagons. Halfway down the narrow enclosure was what appeared to be a half-round space set off to the left side. The walls held the ubiquitous carvings of unicorns as well as a lot of imagery I normally associated with harvest festivals in more arable lands. The real surprise awaited us when we got close enough to see the curved walls of the demi-tower halfway down the length of the structure. There, the decoration was a mosaic, rather than a bas-relief carved from stone. Rather than a bas-relief carved from stone. Even to my unappreciative eye, it was a masterpiece. Jigsaw whipped out her journal and immediately began sketching away. The mosaic depicted a chaotic mass of fruits, grains, and vegetables pouring from a huge symbol of magic that topped the wall. The colors were intense.
It's a cornucopia.
Woohoo! The colors were intense, even after a millennium. Jigsaw paused in her drawing and pointed with a hoof.
Look, Twilight, the highlights on the grapes and the drops of dew on the apples. I think they're diamonds. And the grains of wheat are citrines. And there's more. I think half that mosaic is gemstones.
Wow! That's incredible. She was right. The art was not only a masterwork, it was worth a rather large fortune in materials alone. But more importantly, it was all about one thing: food. Jigsaw, I said, quietly, as my eyes tracked downward where the depiction of the food flowed. I think we've found the cornucopia. Raised above the floor of the building was a carved pedestal about chest-high on me. The face of the pedestal, too, carried a bejeweled mosaic of produce, but its top was plain granite, polished to a mirror-smooth surface, and on it rested nothing.
Or where the cornucopia used to be,
Jigsaw said, her book and pencil slipping from her grasp and plopping to the floor. It wasn't fair. I bet this never happens to Daring Do, I grumbled.
Her adventures get edited,
Jigsaw sighed.
Welcome to the real world, princess.
Yeah, about that.
Oh my god. Oh, they're totally just gonna give this whole cornucopia thing to Rarity and just be like, yo, heard you like gemstones.
Boom! Why not Spike?
Because Spike is a dragon. He steals them. He wouldn't feel good about just taking things given to him.
He eats them.
Do dragons eat gems in their world?
Pretty sure I've mentioned this before, but maybe Cool Wizzy hasn't. Or Cool Ross hasn't. Somehow I did that. Yeah, they do. Spike loves them, man. They're delicious to him.
No wonder he's in love with Rarity. He wants to be fed well for all his days.
Precisely. So that was Chapter 9, Fallout. Now we go on to Chapter 10, Uninvited Guests. Ooh. That sounds cool.
Well, yeah. We're reading the cool fic.
You're right, we are.
Are you just excited for this because uninvited guests implies more characters and you get a voice more?
No. That's not why. I'm just curious who the uninvited guests are. It all fits, I said, pointing to the ruts worn in the floor. The grooves on this side of the turret are deeper than the other. Jigsaw nodded sadly.
Empty wagons coming in. Loaded wagons going out. It must have been an amazingly powerful artifact.
Well, the cornucopia may be gone now, but we still have the magic weapon to find. Seek it beneath the cornucopia, and what the code said. So, I examined the granite slab closely. It seemed to be set into the wall as well as connected to the pedestal beneath it. There was no obvious way to lift it without destroying the surrounding mosaic. Maybe we can access the space underneath from outside the building. Or maybe there's a tunnel.
Or maybe there's instructions written on the wall. Oh, writing on the wall. It all fits together.
Of course.
It's a curse. Beware.
Beware. She seemed awfully cheerful all of a sudden. Not funny, Jigsaw. She smirked at me and kept on smirking. It was hideous, horrifying.
Yeah, he's not even ad-libbing that. That's what it says.
No, it's not what it says. I'm sorry, guys. I've lied to you again. Wait, no, I've lied to you a first time, bro. Because I've never been in this universe. Haha, fuck you. I looked at the mosaic. I looked at the walls to either side. No obvious text, no coded suns. Well, there was one sun, but it was part of the picture, and all of its 8 rays were nearly identical, but Jigsaw definitely had noticed something I hadn't. I don't see it, I finally admitted.
I never would have noticed it if we hadn't discovered the sun code first.
Jigsaw admitted.
Take a closer look at the 2 bunches of grapes just above the slab.
12 grapes in each cluster, and I squinted, trying to see any other differences. The highlights are on different sides of the grapes. Jigsaw couldn't contain herself any longer.
Yes! The little bits of diamond are either correct for the overall lighting of the piece, or they're wrong. One binary difference. The sapphires are not a range of colours, but 2 distinct shades. Second difference. And the stones are slightly oval, not in varying orientations, but either exactly vertical or horizontal.
Huh. Alright, cool. I had to look very closely to see the differences, but she was right. It had to be another code. I turned and smiled at her. You're a genius, Daring Do.
Oh, please. I'm better than that slash and burn cow pony.
You take that back.
Ooh.
Smack. Smack.
I have to say, I kind of like her more.
Yeah, but way better. Come on.
Okay, maybe.
Now that...
Let her have this. Come on, Ross.
She said, ostentatiously polishing a hoof against her chest.
Now that I've done the hard part, would you like to decode the message?
Fucking hard part, bullshit, motherfucking. I already had my notebook and quill out. I started with the same sequence for the letters as before, and I assumed that the grapes would be read top to bottom and left to right. I just needed to discover which order the 3 differences came in. It took about 10 minutes. Not happy about that one. Press the pear, then the lemon.
Press the pear, then the lemon.
Then the lemon.
Thelamin. Thelamin.
Yeah, that's the one. There were lots of pears and lemons in the mosaic, but only one of each on the pedestal.
Deeb's on the lemon,
Jigsaw said. Wait. I held out a wing to block their path. I want us to be very careful here. I don't know what I did. I just randomly came up with something new for Twilight. Let's get out of the building and then start pushing buttons that are connected to Celestia knows what.
They'd never set a trap that might damage that amazing mosaic.
You say that. Twilight didn't say that, though. Jigsaw protested. How much damage would, say, poison gas do to the gemstones?
Oh, all right.
She rolled her eyes.
But I'm pretty sure that from the door to the pedestal is out of range of my horn.
Well, I'll have to do the heavy lifting then. You can have the honor of...
What is it?
Bears. Very big bears. I'm on...
Ceiling alligators!
I'm on fire with these quick, rapid wham-bams and badingos. No,
yeah,
no
I just
bears.
wonder how much better it would have been if it were cool, Ross.
All right, pal. I'll show you. I'll be cool. I'll be the coolest Ross ever. Just you
Whoa,
wait and
he's
see.
converting to coolism.
Yeah. All right. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't just steal someone's identity.
I can.
Okay, you can.
I'm just that cool.
You can be cool, Ross, now.
I can't do it.
See, it's more difficult than it seems. Granted, you've known Cool Ross longer than I have.
Well, you have his face.
Yeah, but if I had to guess, it's probably a less cool version.
It's basically the same, except slicked back hair and sunglasses instead of normal glasses.
You do know that the Ross Pitt character, out of character, The Rossby character does have glasses. Like sunglasses.
Okay,
always.
it's like it's like yours, but with a cigarette instead of a piece of straw.
Oh, cool.
And a leather jacket.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Maybe I'll steal that. Not the jacket, but you know. We had just emerged into the sunlight when I felt a little twinge of my tracking spell. Changelings! Quick! Get down! No, quick! Let's get to the plaza. I swung the large doors shut and smoothed the dust flat behind us as I trotted away from the cornucopia building. Jigsaw understood immediately what I was doing and kept close by my side, without any questions. God, these fucking changeling bullshit motherfuckers. That's what
there to
Twilight
be
said.
friends. Twilight was not saying that.
No, but that's what I pretend that she was saying. She was definitely saying that, 100%. We reached the plaza. Jigsaw got out her journal and began sketching the rather dull pediment of the no hash mark building. And I surreptitiously searched the sky as I moved rubble away from the base of the wall. The password is banana, I hissed to her out of the side of my mouth. She frowned in puzzlement for a second before nodding.
Right.
She replied.
Banana.
There were 6 of them, flying in ragged formation towards the city. At least, they weren't trying to sneak up on us. As they got closer, I could see that 2 of them were in armor, and that the leader was considerably larger than the others. About the same size as me, actually. Cool.
It was Thorax.
Oh, Thorax. No, this was way before Thorax. Like 2 years or so.
Wow.
Yeah. I made a show of noticing them and telling Jigsaw when they were about a furlong out. They landed a respectful distance away, advanced a few paces, and then bowed to me. Please rise, I said, with a gracious little nod that I perfected after closely watching Celestia do it for years. Footnote, I had yet to master Luna's "you've got exactly 1 minute to convince me not to trample you" nod. Fortunately, I've never had much use for it. It was impossible for me to tell the drones, footnote, or maybe they were workers? I still hadn't gotten the divisions of the changeling hive figured out. Apart. Oh, that was the end of the footnote, by the way. Apart. But I was pretty sure the smaller one in armor was the officer I'd talked with the day before. One of the others must still have had a remnant of my tracking spell attached. I'd have to try and renew it on them if possible. The larger armored changeling rose and spoke. Good morning, your serene highness. Queen Chrysalis sends her regards.
Perfect. I just forgot the reference you made.
Yay. You have cool ProZD in this world?
Yeah. Cool King Dragon sends his regards.
Cool Archibald. No. I gave her the number 1 Celestia nod again and said, I hope Her Majesty is well? She is indeed, ma'am. Okay, then. This changeling knew equestrian protocol pretty well, and was making sure to be on her best behavior. Sad to say, it made me instantly suspicious. Fucking racist. I'm glad to hear it. May I know your name? I said it without thinking. In court, it was often all but impossible to know the names of every supplicant that came to be heard, even without an aid or seneslotion. Go fucking read the chapter yourself, you assholes. Whispering in my ear. And there were lots of clever circumlocutions Why the large words?
Circumlocutions?
Circumlocutions. That would let me get through a session without ever having to refer to a pony directly. But Celestia always asked the names of the ponies that came before her, and she always seemed to remember them.
I am proud to be the general of the swarm, ma'am.
Ah, no names given then. We were keeping this formal, or changelings didn't have given names. I really didn't know. Maybe. I mentally headed myself off, took a deep breath, and said, General of the Swarm, it is a pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
And an honor for me, ma'am.
Thank you for saying so, General.
Not at all, ma'am.
I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I would offer you some refreshment, but my assistant and I are, unfortunately, poorly provisioned while at work. Footnote, translation from toffee-nosed to plainiquish. We're busy. Take a hike, sister.
Ooh.
Heyo.
I wouldn't dream of imposing on you, ma'am,
The general replied.
In fact, Her Majesty has sent us here with direct orders to aid you in your endeavors by whatever means possible.
God damn, you are getting liberal with these footnotes.
We're staying. Get used to it.
So we're stuck with half a dozen changelings tagging after us, with a big, tough, and worst of all, clever leader. Damn. Of course, we didn't get back to the cornucopia building. There was no way I'd risk a hint of the powerful magical weapon getting back to Chrysalis, but I wasn't going to pretend to examine buildings I knew were empty all day, either. That would just be a contest to see who would snap first, me or Jigsaw. So I decided we would poke around a cluster of 2 hash-mark buildings, a few blocks from the main plaza. I let the drones move stones and clear away debris, and gave the honor of entering the structures to the general. None of them were marked as dangerous, or I couldn't in good conscience have let her blindly walk in, but you never know, right? We actually uncovered quite a bit of interesting stuff, including a couple of small books. Woo! I carefully wrapped them up and stowed them away, intending to work as many restorative spells into them as I could manage before attempting to read them. Then there was a large carving in deep relief of 2 unicorn stallions, locked in savage combat, which was quite unexpected. Weren't all of the master races supposed to be unified in their superiority? It certainly wasn't anything as ritualized as horn fencing or wrestling.
Is that like 2 confirmed sports in the My Little Pony world?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I suppose wrestling, technically.
Aha.
That's already in our world, so it doesn't whatever.
Well, I didn't know if that was a thing in like an episode. They had an episode where people are wrestling.
Yeah, no,
That seems to be a trope with cartoons.
Those aren't like things. Usually. They were obviously battling to the death. There might have been names carved into the base of the wall at one time, but they were sandblasted and worn into illegibility. Their cutie marks were in decent shape, but without some sort of reference. Those weren't much help. Jigsaw plopped herself down in front of it and began a serious drawing. I wanted to explore what appeared to be a large underground vault, but Jigsaw was lost in her work and wasn't going to finish anytime soon. I was going to have to cool my hooves or take a risk. Considering all that had gone before, I was nearly 100% certain that the changelings wouldn't dare hurt either one of us. But a little reminder wouldn't hurt. General?
Yes, ma'am?
I wish to take a look downstairs, but I hesitate to leave my companion alone here. I gave the general a look that I'm sure Luna would have pulled off more effectively. Footnote. Really, I once saw Luna give Prince Blueblood a case of the cold sweats just by raising an eyebrow at him. Whew.
Man, people seem to pick on Prince Blueblood a lot.
He's a fucking twit. Apparently there's actually a lot of Prince Blueblood is a hero stories. Maybe we should read one at some point.
I don't know about that.
Oh, calm down. And said, she's very important to me, you understand?
Of course, Princess. I will remain here to watch over her.
I have to admit, I hadn't expected that. I took the precaution of trailing a light tracking spell across the backs of the general's armor, under disguise of levitating a bottle of water over to Jigsaw. If the big changeling made any sudden moves, I'd know, and be able to react instantly. I still hesitated. General, I would like to speak frankly with you for a moment. I motioned her over to a place where the others wouldn't overhear.
I would welcome it, ma'am.
I'm sure you have your orders concerning us that you won't be sharing. Perhaps those orders include trying to replace Jigsaw or holding her hostage against my good behavior. If you try to carry out any such orders, you will fail. You saw what happened to the mountain I used as an example. Let me assure you that I am just as subtle, precise, and clever as I am powerful. I am not boasting, and I am not threatening. I just want you to get some idea of what an appalling price you and your kind will pay for an attempted betrayal. The general broke out into a broad grin. As her teeth were the jagged fangs of a carnivore, the expression was not a reassuring one.
Since we're speaking freely, I'd just like to say that I like you a lot better when you're being a cold-hearted bitch, ma'am.
Oh my god.
Was that the first swear in this?
Both, they said damn, but I think that's actually the first, big swear.
Yeah, that's the first big boy swear. Wowzers.
Yeah. R-rated swear.
Okay. R-rated, PG-13 at best.
Whatever. In the cool universe, that would be R-rated.
Okay, fine. You get me
So she has
again.
both literal and figurative jagged fangs. Hey!
Cool. I actually didn't know whether to be pleased or not. Just so long as we understand one another.
Alrighty then. Since we're not playing pretend nicey-nice anymore, I will tell you straight that my queen has sent us here to spy on you. Big surprise, huh? She didn't believe you could be interested in all this old trash.
She swept a perforated hoof around at the ruins in general.
And she thought you were here as some sort of prelude to an attack on the hive. After the mountain, she changed her mind. Why be sneaky when you could just turn our home into a smoking crater? You know what I'm saying? She still doesn't know what you're up to, but is entertaining the idea that you might not be hostile. So, she wants to know more about you generally and specifically. One of her direct orders was to do absolutely no harm to either of you whatsoever for any reason, not even to defend our own lives.
Jesus.
You can believe that or not. Your choice, Princess.
I held her gaze for a while before I answered. I believe you, General. She nodded and turned to the other armored changeling, shouting,
Captain, escort the princess.
I still capped all my defensive spells on a hair trigger as we descended into the vault. It was right next to a marked building, but had no mark itself, which could mean that it hadn't been explored and might be dangerous. Oh boy. It was a storeroom of some sort that had several side bays with intricately intersecting pointed arched ceilings. All the niches set into the walls that had been meant to hold goods were empty or had only mounds of unidentifiable rubble in them. I sifted through the detritus with a sieve-like web of magic, looking for anything slightly interesting and grinding my teeth at the thought of the real treasure waiting for me just a few blocks away. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I stopped at the end of the main hall and realized that something was off. There had been a bay on each side of the room, all the way to the end, but where the vault stopped, there was only one bay to my left. On the other side was
it was Jigsaw.
Jesus Christ. That was loud.
I'm sorry, but I haven't talked that much.
I
had to
understand.
make a joke.
I get it. But it was loud. Okay, there was only one bay to my left. On the other side was a relatively smooth wall. But the stones were a slightly different color than the rest. I hesitated, debating with myself whether to go and get Jigsaw to share in my moment of discovery, but finally decided to go ahead without her. "Captain," I said to my escort, "please come over here and stand next to me." The changeling had given a little start when I'd spoken and was hesitant about approaching me. I realized that she was scared of me. What on earth would I have done to be scary?
Remember what you did to Discord? Remember what you did to the... Who's the other villain? Triton?
Tirek?
Tirek. It's Tirek.
There was also that mountain she casually blew up earlier.
Yeah.
"It's all right," I reassured her. That's a whoopsie. You'll only know what the whoopsie is if you go to the story and read it yourself. "I'm going to open this wall, and I want you near me so I can teleport us both away if there's any trouble." She moved over to my side, not quite touching me, and I turned my attention to the wall. I took hold of the stones in a triangular patch and moved them all together. Actually, Tirek wasn't around at this point, I don't think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? How old is this story?
Possibly before or after season 4, episode 4. I can't remember. But, yeah. So,
I have no clue how the timeline goes for characters appearing.
yeah, Tirek is at the end of season 4.
Okay.
The villains before that were Nightmare Moon, Discord, Queen Chrysalis, and Sombra. And I guess technically Discord again.
Queen Chrysalis was defeated, and then came what's his name? Thorax.
Oh, no.
Huh. I thought he replaced her as leader.
Well, he did, but after they defeated her a second time.
Oh.
Yeah.
She got 2 chances. And she screwed it up both times.
Funny thing about that, she actually gets 3. Technically 4.
Queen Chrysalis. You could have been a good person.
Actually, technically 5. So it's either 3, 4, or 5, depending on how you want to look at things. She moved over to my side, not quite touching me, and I turned my attention to the wall. I took hold of the stones in a triangular patch and moved them all together, leaving a hole that I thought would be unlikely to collapse. I set the stones aside in a neat pile and directed a beam of light from my horn into the dark space beyond. You know what Twilight could do? Because of the provisions the other changelings have been, or not provision, the rules that the other changelings were given. She could just, beat a few of them to death with her bare hooves. They couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And they'd still have to, obey her and stuff like that. Just food for thought.
Oh my god.
The first thing I saw was the pony skeleton. I didn't scream. I took in a big gasp of air that would be the perfect thing to scream with, but I let it out again in more of an outragey sound. The skeleton was a bad one, poorly made, I mean. It was bits of whitewashed wood strung together with wire.
Oh.
And boring.
I wanted it to be a real skeleton.
It was bits of whitewashed wood strung together with wire, and had a board hung around its neck, with a message scrawled on it in charcoal.
Gotcha! Grenade College Chargers, class of 37.
Oh. Pricked by some 200-year-old sophomores. I stomped in embarrassment. Still, I was going to have to tell Rainbow Dash about this when I got back, setting up a practical joke that might not pay off for centuries. That was dedication. On second thought, knowing how Rainbow hated to be outdone, I felt that maybe I shouldn't tell her. Who knew what that might lead to? She fucking blows up the entirety of Equestria in like 500 years.
She's like, pranked ya!
I carefully replaced the stones in the hole so that it appeared pretty much as it had when I found it. Why waste a good prank? The changeling was looking at me. "Did you have a question, Captain?" I asked her.
This
She pointed at the wall I'd just replaced.
is a sort of joke?
Yes, we call it a practical joke or a prank. Not very subtle, I admit.
Ponies would plan such a thing so many years in advance, just to imagine the humor of an event that they would never witness?
Yeah, great, isn't it? Her expression was hard to read, but the tilt of her head suggested puzzlement. We usually like to be around for the payoff, but there's a certain style to this one, I have to admit.
I see,
Was all she said. We climbed back up to the daylight to discover Jigsaw in close conversation with the general. There's a certain body language when two ponies are having a casual talk, and a very different one when they are discussing something very important. And they didn't seem to be chatting about the weather. "Well," I called out to them, "that was a waste of time." "No, it wasn't." "You got a bit of a prank?" So no, it wasn't. Jigsaw gave a little jump. A guilty little jump, it seemed to me. The general merely looked up and nodded a greeting. Maybe I was imagining things. Maybe. But that didn't stop me from getting Jigsaw off to one side as soon as possible and whispering into her ear. "Password?"
Banana.
She replied without hesitation. So she was the real Jigsaw. I was just being paranoid. But the last time I had been paranoid around a changeling, I had also been right. I was determined to shake off our watchers as soon as possible and ask Jigsaw some questions. That turned out to be harder than I thought, for reasons I would never have imagined. Well,
Oh my god, another cliffhanger.
great. Fan-freaking-tastic. So that was Cool the Celestia Code by Cool Esau, Chapter 10. 10 Uninvited Guests. Or Chapter 10 Uninvited Guests. Sorry, that was a bit weird.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
This fic really takes the word cool and runs with it.
Yeah, man. It really does. Man, oh man, I am so hyped for the next one. I can't wait to read it. I'm so curious what it is. What it be doing. That next one. But yeah. Again, as always, Esau, freaking fantastic work. Anything you would have to say, my dearest cool friend?
In these chapters, I did not like how Jigsaw was portrayed. She just seems a bit off. Like she was really emotional all of a sudden, and then that really led nowhere.
Yeah, of course she would be emotional all of a sudden.
Like,
What do you expect?
I get it, but it seemed very weird because it didn't lead anywhere really. It just like happened out of nowhere and then didn't stick.
It didn't happen out of nowhere. She freaking made out with Twilight last episode.
Okay, well, fair, but it was more than just that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe it makes more sense if you read the chapters closer together.
Possibly.
Maybe it feels more normal.
I think you're just being insane. Anyways. Yeah. These chapters I think were really good. Again, not super a fan of a whole lot of the freaking big words. Because I know read big words good. But, you know, either way, I loved them. We're almost halfway through the story, which is exciting.
Oh my god. Oh, this has been a great story so far.
Yeah, man. I'm glad that we have the exact same story that we were doing. Such a bummer that I wasn't able to do the one that I wanted to do tonight, but oh well. I'm sure that cool Ross and Wizzy, my Wizzy, handled it perfectly fine. If they did, I don't know.
Join us next time for chapters. The next chapters of Sunlight Sliders.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Because that's what we're doing on the Cool Ross and Cool Wizzy's Cool Fanfiction Power Hour.
Oh, that's how you guys do it. All right. Well. Oh. Well, since we already did this one, can I just steal the audio, take it back to my world if that ever happens?
Yeah, there should be a USB drive in there, man.
Ah, sweet. Wow. You guys are oh my gosh. Whoa. It's the portal back to my whoa. Okay, I'm taking this USB drive. Bye. Whoa. Hey, what's up?
Cool, Ross, you're back.
Yeah, just kind of flew through dimensions, you know.
So cool.
Yeah, but, you know, it wasn't really as cool as when I found that Yeti last week, you know?
Oh, man. This poser was totally trying to steal your gig.
Ugh, typical. I totally stole his gig, though. Did a better job. Don't make me brag.
Epic.
All right, well. So you guys read the next chapters of the Celestia Code?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I hope hope it's good. Hope it's a good episode. All right, guys. Cool guys, that is. Thank you all so freaking much for coming to the Ross and Wizzy, the Cool Ross and Cool Wizzy's Cool Fanfiction Power Hour. So glad that you could all join us here today. I know it's been a weird episode, but I'm sure that'll be fine. Ah, crap, I forgot to ask for the freaking episode. Crap, we won't have anything. I know what happens in Sunlight Sliders. Damn it. Or in Cool Sunlight Sliders.
This sucks, bro.
Dang it. Ugh. Alright, say your bye thing.
Alright, as I always say. Goodbye.
My man.
Sorry, I was doing something stupid.
What were you doing?
I don't want to say.
Oh, I'm too curious now. We don't have to put it in the podcast, but you have
Put
to
a
say.
stupid bow tie on my shirt. It's totally a fake bow tie that I just created out of cotton and a rubber band and a pin.
Oh, how excellent.
But it looks nice.